Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities are available for today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Right, starting off on the daily, as always we have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. So what's the daily showing us? Well, yesterday we closed out as a bearish doji, right? Because we took some internal buy side liquidity it seems, and then that made us bearish or was continuing the trend. We eventually filled this daily imbalance and we pulled back a little bit from there, right? So buy side liquidity lower, sell side liquidity a bit higher. Into today, obviously, we are bearish so far opening this morning. So we filled that imbalance that I've been discussing since we took this buy side liquidity here. That part of a pullback is complete. It may be a bit too early to see this as a deceleration candle, but obviously we did pull back somewhat from this imbalance area POY here. Is the direction of the day going to be bullish or bearish? Well, bear in mind, actually into a discount of this leg is another imbalance here. So price could continue short, right? But we have filled this daily imbalance, so I imagine there may be some sort of support shown here maybe for the rest of the week, or short pullback to get some buy side liquidity to sponsor a further move if we are to head for this area. For today so far we have our previous daily lows and highs intact for buy side and sell side liquidity. We have a small imbalance just above here, right, from that bearish momentum a couple days ago. Price could pull back to for that source of buy side liquidity above the previous daily high and mitigate this imbalance, possibly to head lower if it proves as resistance. But at the moment we're very bearish today. This daily imbalance may not show support immediately. Now if I look at DXY, the candles haven't moved as far as we have on EU, so it's finding a lot of resistance here, a lot of consolidation. I imagine the 4 hours quite consolidated from looking at this. Previous day, you can see we took previous daily high of this candle, then previous daily low as well, right? And we had our pullbacks from those areas. We've spiked into over the previous weekly high into that imbalance there, but we haven't filled it like EU. So DXY isn't moving very well in those terms there. So we're always going to have that possibility for DXY to go higher to fill this, and obviously EU then to go much lower. So we'll have to keep monitoring that situation to see how that happens. We're very bearish like at the moment. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows us. So let's analyze this 4 hour chart here. As I mentioned yesterday, from the Monday, we had that internal buy side liquidity sweep of SMC and created a bearish leg. Now, a lot of bearish momentum over the Tuesday and into Wednesday, filling that daily imbalance. We pulled back into this imbalance here. Right, so that imbalance is nearly 100% mitigated, which is fine. So buy side liquidity mitigation above these highs and into this imbalance here. There was another imbalance above with an order block, but this area might be enough because we've mitigated that. And then overnight and into today from, this probably the Asia range areas here, I assume. And we're continuing bearish, so we may go on to make lower lows here, right? We've mitigated a POY, which would have been in the premium of this leg, I believe. Yeah, just in the premium of this leg here, and we may be continuing lower. So we'll see what price does. Price goes lower, or if it uses the sell side liquidity here, right? We'll see how that happens in the future. So overnight range over the MY session, we can read all this from the 4 hour. You can see this candle here spiked up above these highs into more of an imbalance again, but spiked up above these highs for internal buy side liquidity, and we're just falling bearish, right, with quite a lot of momentum here. Now if we go over to DXY, everything's a bit different of course, but after taking that previous weekly high and that internal buy side liquidity here yesterday, as you can see, we had that bearish move. We've gone below one of these internal lows here into a 4 hour imbalance and had that bullish push from there, which is this same bearish move. Now I don't think this is moving live, but even when we go down to the 1 hour, we are quite far from this previous daily high. So I expect to see further high time frame SMC divergence if or once we take out this low. We're nowhere near this high. So again, we've got a bit of a weird range here going on DXY. We did take sell side liquidity there, and are moving bullish since then, right? But again, we haven't taken out these highs yet, where it looks like we're taking out these lows. So we'll see that a bit more clearly on the 1 hour. But everything looks fairly bearish. We've had a POI mitigated yesterday. Today has a lot of bearish momentum to continue going. So in terms of bias so far, yes, bearish. Though you may see a bit of counter trend bias from me for the session if we start taking out sell side liquidity here or somewhere else, right? And switch structure on the lower time frame. But I think that's enough for the 4 hour. Let's go down to the 1 hour and see this price action in more detail. Right, so onto the 1 hour. I have put in the 4 hour imbalance here just so we can see it visually on the 1 hour. Okay, so we filled this daily imbalance, which is just here. Had a bullish NY session, okay, and come up and mitigated this area here. Now we came down overnight range, maybe taking the top of the range, filled a little imbalance here, and we're moving very, very bearish towards these lows. Now, as I said on DXY, when we mitigated this sell side liquidity here, which is where we mitigated this imbalance, we then had that bullish move here, and then overnight, strangely enough, while there's a range here, this came bearish again, right? Created essentially a higher low here, right? We've done that super buy side liquidity, lower low, pulled back, made that higher low, and it looks like we're going out to take this high, right? Loads of SMC divergence to the point where it could be confusing. We've got this high here to this lower high, whereas we've got this lower low to this low. So we're just going to have to wait and see what price action does. I don't want to get into all of this SMC divergence because there's loads of it. There's going to be it from the top here to the low here as well if we take out this low. So as I mentioned, they're very much not in sync. We're nowhere near this previous daily high, whereas it looks like we're about to take out this previous daily low. We may leave behind an order block here on the 1 hour for us to continue shorts from if that's how it's going to be. Okay, so we've had a strong bearish reaction from this area again as soon as we've opened up into Frankfurt and London, I believe. Now the only thing I've pointed out here is we had this imbalance with 1 hour order block here, right? We've met that on DXY. That may prove some resistance, but we may go above it for the buy side liquidity, and at the same time we may take the sell side liquidity here below these lows, right? So as I mentioned, we may see something counter trend come from this area because sell side liquidity, POI buy side liquidity resistance here on DXY, or it may take even the buy side liquidity above the highs, which would also be great. And we would have SMC divergence as well from this high to wherever this high ends, and then it would have this low to wherever that low is. So it would give a confluence at least for a pullback counter trend, at least up into this area. We're having some sort of pullback here already because we've mitigated this, as you can see, so that's interesting enough. So I guess you could say we're seeing both ways, right? Like I said, the momentum and trend is bearish at the moment, but I can't ignore that we would possibly have some counter trend opportunities from the sell side liquidity here, or the buy side liquidity here, or this POI with the SMC divergence and all of that stuff. So you can see we're having a strong reaction so far from this area here. We'll see how long that lasts. You can see what's happening with this candle. So yeah, a lot to be vigilant about and to be careful of. We are having this bearish leg here. We did pull back to make a lower high at this POI, and we may go on to make a lower low, though we have to be careful that if we don't make this lower low, it could be price creating another leg to come back a bit further. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how this resistance here plays out, or the buy side liquidity, right? If we're going to send DXY lower, because at the end of the day, we did sweep buy side liquidity and create a new internal 1 hour bearish leg, right? And we sort of did the same bullish leg thing here. However, in the greater scheme, EU still has this bearish leg, and this is internal to it. It's just a bit different on DXY. We're not internal to that leg. We actually have a bearish 1 hour leg because these legs are smaller. We broke those lows, okay? Be patient, be vigilant. We definitely got opportunities to go both ways possibly, and we may need to wait for a good lower time frame structure shift. So I think that's also enough said on the 1 hour. Hope I haven't confused or said anything. Let me know in the comments if you need any clarity. Let's go down to the M15, see if there's any opportunities for today. So in terms of the M15, like immediately, what I would like to point out is we can see we had the Asia overnight range here. Now into Frankfurt and the end of Asia, we came up above these highs here, and then momentum entered the market, right? We clearly have broken below these lows here. So M15 break of structure even, which is nice. We had SMC divergence, right, where we made this higher high here, which means weakness in EU. You can see that's played out, okay? So higher high with also a higher low here. DXY refused to make that lower low, and we saw strength coming from that area. Now that would be continuing with the narrative, right, with the storyline. We mitigated this, okay, and continued going bearish, right, with the higher time frame momentum. However, obviously previous day we mitigated that daily imbalance, created this new bullish leg here, right, above these highs, and we haven't taken out this low at all. So yeah, this bullish leg could stay intact, and as we said on DXY, we have a bearish leg that we're internal to. Price got held here at this M15 order block, right? You can see that. And I think another main negative is obviously just we have this 1 hour POI that price is reacting from at the moment, but it may just be a pullback. So I think that's the main negative for me. DXY has this resistance here. So if I was to look at the immediate order block above on the M15, it's quite a large order block, of course. Don't have to enter from here, could do it from the top of that imbalance there. We have the M15 order block. Let's say we enter from the top of the imbalance, nice round number, stop loss at the highs. I like round numbers, so I would just put it just above the high, and then you can aim wherever you need to aim for. So we have this sort of scenario because we have a break of structure, buy side liquidity sort of taken above here, SMC divergence, breaking down, higher time frame picture coming from this POI. We can see shorts ongoing, but we also have the negatives of, well, yesterday we mitigated a daily POI, created a bullish leg. We've pulled back to the discount of that leg. I don't see this as a sweep. We've taken out a lot of sell side liquidity here. Don't see this as a sweep, but of course this is the negative here, right? Within this bearish leg, we've pulled back sort of correctively to this 1 hour POI, and we may see a bearish reaction from there. Obviously we still have an M15 order block here, SMC divergence. So it's one to think about. I think I would have liked it if maybe London or something had swept the top of Asia just for that good cycle, but we don't have to come to the other side of Asia now, because I think we've taken out completely those Asia lows. We've closed well below it. Now the only time I would think that this goes immediately invalid is if we do take this sell side liquidity here. Obviously that's a major negative, right? If we sweep this low and then pull back, I'll probably just wait for more order flow. So that is the opportunity that I see immediately this morning. So what else would I be looking for? Well, like I said, we may have those counter trend opportunities from the sell side liquidity here. So maybe for price to come down, if it creates a new low just before, that would be great. Sweeps this, close out as a nice high test, then we break above this high as a break of structure, maybe on the M5, maybe on the M15, pull back down, possibly corrective to the lower time frame order block with imbalance, to then trade upwards, maybe back towards this area or maybe higher, right? So this will be the sell side liquidity here. This will be the possible inducement during a corrective pullback here, maybe a lower time frame order block with imbalance there. Set our order, stop loss just below the low, possibly something like that, counter trend, okay? Obviously this is playing out here, this is causing that pullback. We're not pulling back with the same momentum here on DXY, so yeah, something to be aware of. I'm going to have a think about this myself and reanalyze and check price just to weigh up the negatives. But yeah, that's the most immediate opportunity I see. We can be patient. We don't have to go for these opportunities there. You can maybe see if order flow enters the market after for a continuation. That's what I'm seeing today. A lot of confusing divergences that's going on, but sticking to the picture and what's happening, these are the opportunities I see immediately and what I will keep an eye out for. So I hope you gained value from that. I hope everything was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.